afternoon and welcome to H360 Live. My name is Courtland Long and unfortunately my partner Dave couldn't be with us today. But we still have a really exciting and inspirational show for everyone today. We have Lisa Costa on the show and she's a caregiver for her mom. Lisa, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Courtland.
So this past weekend it was the American Brain Tumor Association BT 5K, which is a very important event for you, given that you're caring for your mom who has a brain tumor. Can we start out by having you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, and then we'll get into your caring journey?
Sure. So I'm 29. I'm from Hicksville, New York, which is in Long Island. I am a baker. That is my background. And I'm currently going to school at Baruch College in New York City for public affairs. Yeah.
That's great. So, you know, I just mentioned that you're a caregiver for your mom who has a brain tumor. When and how did you receive that news, and what was it like to learn about that?
Yeah, so I was actually in San Francisco at the time. I had moved there to further pursue bread baking. So I was completely away from my family, and I received this phone call. It was March of 2014. And it was from my sister, and she just was telling me that, you know, my mom had been slurring her speech, and that she was really concerned, and that she had gone to the hospital and they had done a CAT scan and they saw something on her brain, and they weren't sure what it was. So at that time it was just really scary because I was completely away from them, and I had so few details, so I really didn't know what was happening. I didn't know if it was a stroke or a tumor, and I hoped that it wasn't a tumor, but you know, until they did the brain biopsy, no one could tell us for sure. So it was just kind of a feeling of panic and like helplessness. I really didn't know what to do being so far away.
But you made the decision to come back from San Francisco to New York. So what was going through your mind when you were making that decision? Was it difficult, or were you just like, I gotta go?
Yeah, it was actually one of the easiest decisions I've ever made in my entire life. I was in the hospital during the brain biopsy, and you know, my mom was still in surgery, and I just looked at my sister and my dad and I said, I'm coming back. And they said, you don't need to come back. And I said, no, I can't be this far away. I don't know what's gonna happen. I need to be here with you guys. I need to support my mom, and I need to support you guys too. So it was really actually an easy decision. Yeah,
pulling together as a family. So what are some of the responsibilities you have as a caregiver?
Right. So I think for everyone it's probably a little bit different, but for me personally, it's, you know, going to the doctor's appointments, making sure that, you know, my mom's medications are in the correct order, and, you know, making sure that we have you know, the correct medications. It's, you know, making sure she's comfortable, managing her symptoms, it's being very aware of what's happening with her at all times, and just, you know, at the same time making sure that she feels supported, and, you know, that she knows that we're there for her.
Right. So I think, you know, it's difficult for anyone to make sure that they're following their medication regimen. You know, whether you just have a couple like heart pills or things like that. So how do you help your mom, you know, keep everything on track? Do you have a schedule or a binder that you guys?
It's hard. We have like my sister and I always joke, because every doctor that we go to asks us what the medications are, and we always are forgetting the list, but we try and keep like a list on our phones and sort of just update it. And then as far as pills go, we have just like, you know, a pill case for AM, PM, and then, you know, there's sometimes like a middle category. So we just try and keep it organized.
Yeah, as best as possible.
Yeah.
So I know that unfortunately your mom's treatment journey has been a bit of a difficult one. In the beginning, the tumor was thought to be inoperable, but you fought to get a second opinion. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so she was, from the beginning they said that, that her tumor was inoperable. It was too close to the speech center. And so we initially just we trusted them because they were doctors. So we just went along with what the standard of care was, which was radiation and chemotherapy. And unfortunately, she had what was perceived to be, a growth, which actually it was, a result of the radiation. And there was actually swelling in the brain. But at that point, we kind of reopened the idea of surgery, and the neuro-oncologist at the place that she was being treated said that it was possible, surgery was definitely possible, and then as it turned out, they decided against it there. And so at that time, I just, I thought to myself, there's got to be someone who's going to operate with all the, wonderful hospitals around New York. There's got to be somebody. And, as it turned out, there was somebody at New York Presbyterian who did actually operate on her, and he did a tumor resection. So it wasn't a full surgery, but he took out a lot of what was in there. So.
Right. And was the surgeon also able to take out some of the necrosis that she had from?
Yeah. And they were able to also, a huge part about this was that they were able to send in the area that they took out for, further testing, so they could see, the genes of the tumor, and then kind of tailor her treatment towards that. So that was a very important thing.
Yeah,
so.
that informs her, treatment and her
right,
medication.
Exactly.
That's excellent. So, it's so important for caregivers also to maintain a healthy lifestyle of their own and certain hobbies so you don't have burnout. Are you able to maintain your passion for baking?
Yes. Yes and no. I mean, it's been very hard. I liken it to something I read on an online support group, which is like, the idea that like when you're on an airplane and you have to put on someone else's mask before your mask before you put on someone else's mask in order to survive. And it's been hard. I definitely still use baking as an outlet for, my emotions and everything. So I think it's been really crucial for me to have another, outlet for everything. And it's been tough, but, you got to try and balance your life, because otherwise you're not going to be any help to yourself or to the person that you care about.
Right. And you also are involved heavily with the American Brain Tumor Association. Can you tell us how you first got involved with them and what your role is with them?
Yeah, so I initially got involved around the time that she was having her surgery. I was sort of looking for a way to contribute to the cause, and I thought, a run or a walk would be really awesome. So I actually just Googled it, and the run came up, the BT 5K, and at that time it was August and the run was in November. So I said, this is a great time, let me sign up for this. So the first year I had a team, and then the next year I actually was invited to be a part of the planning committee for the event. So I definitely was really excited about that, and I joined. So now this is the second year that I've actually been on the BT 5K planning committee.
That's amazing. I think the American Brain Tumor Association, raised over $400,000 this last weekend.
Yep.
That's just incredible. You must have been so excited to learn that.
Yeah, it was incredible, especially because we went like above and beyond what the goal was. So,
right. Yeah. So what services does the ABTA provide in part with some of that money?
So they not only, it's not just about research, which is something that I definitely try and tell people about. They do provide grants to doctors and researchers, but beyond that, it's a really great website where there's a lot of resources for caregivers and patients. They have a lot of information, a lot of links in order to any problem you might have. They'll have like resources, information on there. They have an online support group, which is really wonderful. They also have a mentor program where they put together a mentor with someone else who's going through something similar. So it's just a really great website that has any kind of support that you might be looking for as someone who's going through this difficult situation.
Right. Before you came on the show, we were talking a little earlier, and you had mentioned that participating in online support groups was so helpful to you because you learned, you know, you're not alone.
Right.
You learned about different resources that are available. And I think participating in things like the BT5K are helpful in similar ways. Can you share a little bit about how you think those community events are so important?
Yeah, they're extremely important because, you know, I think when you're in this situation, it's really easy to feel very isolated and very alone. But I mean, after like my first meeting with the planning committee, I felt like a sense of community that, you know, there were others who had been going through what I was going through and I wasn't alone. And because of that, because of this event, I've been able to meet like all these wonderful survivors, all these wonderful other caregivers. And, you know, it's a fun event, but it also is bringing people together and it's making people aware. So I think it's very necessary.
So your mom was diagnosed in 2014. It's now 2016. It's been a long road. How's she doing today?
So it's been really difficult, but my mom is probably one of the strongest people that I know. And she's always been like a healer. She'll get a cold and have, you know, the cold is gone in like 2 hours. So she's, you know, she's definitely going through a tough period right now, but she just keeps on going and she keeps on smiling and she can still laugh at us and we just try and, you know, we try and make her laugh and, you know, she doesn't give up, so.
Yeah, that's great. So in your opinion, what's the hardest part of being a caregiver?
I would say the hardest part is sometimes, you know, you feel a little bit helpless, like there's more that you wish that you could do. And also, like we were talking about, balancing your own, you know, health and mental health. But I think at the end of the day, you know, you got to realize, and this is something that has taken me a while, that you know, you have to look at the situation and think to yourself, like, I'm doing the best that I can do. The person that I'm caring for, they know that I'm here for them. They know that I'm doing the best that I can do. And try to not be so hard on yourself. Like, try to not get so upset over little things and just appreciate the time that you have with your loved one and, you know, just try and enjoy life.
Yeah. And speaking of taking care of your own self, putting your mask on first, how do you maintain your physical and mental health?
I think initially the support groups definitely helped me a lot. Also, working out has helped me a lot. I think that's a great outlet. Also, you know, talking to friends, talking with family, just taking a moment out, taking a few hours, being like, okay, I'm going to just go out, have a coffee with a friend. I mean, that's sometimes I feel a sense of guilt because I'm not there, but I think, again, at the end of the day, I have to realize, and other caregivers need to realize, that you need to take a little time for yourself, and it's good to communicate with friends and family.
Yeah. How did you talk to your friends about, you know, becoming a caregiver for your mom? And I'm sure a lot of your friends also stepped up to say, what can I do? How can I help?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard in the beginning because, you know, a lot of them, you know, initially were asking me, like, what's happening, and I really had no idea. But, you know, it's been really nice to see people coming together for our family and for all of us. And, you know, just they've been very understanding of me having to cancel plans last minute. And, you know, they've just been there for me through the whole way. And they understand that life isn't easy. Sometimes I'm going to be sad. Sometimes I'm going to be like crying in the middle of Starbucks, and it's embarrassing, and you know.
But the real friends are the ones who are there crying with you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you have any words of advice or encouragement for anyone who's going to be embarking on the caregiving path?
Yes. I would just say, above all, you know, make sure you get a second opinion. That for us was like something that was groundbreaking. Make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you're, like I said, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't feel guilty if you do something for yourself. And just, you know, keep in mind that you're here for your loved one and they know how much you care and they know how much, you know, you love them. And just try to appreciate the little things in life.
Lisa, how can our audience learn more and get involved with the American Brain Tumor Association and the BT5K?
There are many ways. The ABTA is on Twitter, so you can follow them on Twitter. They are also on Facebook. You can like them on Facebook. You can join their mailing list. And actually, right now, the event was on Sunday. However, if you want to, you can also still donate up until December, I believe it's December 15th to the BT 5K. So yeah, there are many ways to be involved.
Yeah. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope that everything goes well with your mom.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, we'd like to thank our viewers for tuning in today and our sponsors for making this all possible. All of our episodes of H360 Live can be available on demand at healthyo360.com, and our podcast is in the iTunes store. We love social media, and like the ABTA, we are all over Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest, and we use the hashtag #RealStories when posting. On behalf of Dave Duplay, myself, and the entire Healthyo360 family, we'd like to thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.